Hi all, welcome to another video. And as I'm looking at the video, I'm seeing a lot more gray. Like there's heaps of gray hair. Like the beard, oh my god. And then my hair. Oh wow, this is incredible. I'm getting old, really old. um, yeah. So all right. So what do I intend to talk about in this video? So okay, in this video, I intend to talk about what I'll do for today, and in summary, in one line, what I intend to do today is work on the file sharing app repository and then increase the test coverage in that. So let's do a little bit of recap on where I'm at this stage with the file sharing app. So in my last video, I talked about how I started adding that file share feature to the app, and obviously once I started implementing it, I realized that though my original vision for that feature was a lot bigger and a lot more complex, in that it would require some sort of friend or follower, some similar functionality that you see in a lot of these social media apps such as Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or WeChat or something like that. So once I realized that, what I've done is I've actually scaled back on my ambition of file share feature for now, because to implement any sort of friendship or follow or any of that aspect to this app would take a bit more time than what I'm willing to invest in at this stage, or what I can invest in at this stage. So to actually do it according to my original vision, it would require me to analyze that and then sort of analyze an agile epic and then create a bunch of independent tasks, like Jira has a bunch of issues based on that, and then think of how long it would take me to get it all done. So it would be about, I anticipate it would be anywhere between 1 to 3 weeks, 1.5 to 3 weeks, to add that full feature and to actually test it out, and to do that both to add some sort of say friendship or like follower sort of feature. It would take that much time to add it both to the back end as well as to the front end. It would take a little bit of time. So what I've done now is, um, at this stage, what I've added to the backend is the ability for a user to share the file via an email. Now, to add more to that, so once the now my new scaled down version of this, my new vision of a scaled down version of this feature would be something like the user logs into the app. He can see, he or she, the user can see all the files that they've uploaded, and then they've got options. At this point, they've got options to download or delete the files, but then they'll have this option to share the files. And when they click on the share button, um, so they would actually get a dialog box, and in that dialog box, they could write a bunch of email addresses and click send. Now, what will happen is it will send that message to the backend with the email addresses, and um, it will send an email to those email addresses. And what it would do is, for any files um, that are, say, Word documents or PDF files or markdown documents or .txt files or something like that, anything lightweight, it would attach that as an attachment to the email before sending it out to those email addresses. For any large files such as a video or so, it would just include a link for that video in the content of that email. So the person receiving the email can simply click on that link and then either view the video or download it, depending on how they access that. So yeah, that's how I intend to that's what I intend the feature to be like. in this version. But for today, my plan is to actually um, bring the test coverage up for this repository to a reasonable level. And when I say reasonable level, I mean something anywhere between 40 to 60%, 40 to 50%. Let's say 30 to 50%. Okay, yeah, sure. 30 to 50%. I just intend to bring the test coverage of this repository up to 50%, anywhere between 30 and 50%. So that's something that I feel is achievable today. It's something that I can get done by the end of the day. Uh, Part of the reason is that I do have some experience. I do have quite a bit of experiences writing, quite a bit of experience writing unit tests for Java APIs, particularly Java 5 as of my last job. So a little bit about my last job. In my last role, when I was working for someone, um, it was heavy on the whole microservices architecture. So it was all about building loosely coupled independent little APIs. And little is that term little is subjective, but yeah, in the broad sense, those are little APIs, and there were just heaps of them. There were just so many of them, um, and each API had unit tests of at least 70%. Obviously, there were some that would go all the way up to 95% or so, but then that's just when the developer had some time. Why not? We'll just add more unit tests. But in most cases, it was 70% or like more. So yeah, that was it. And one of the things I had to work on last year or the year before and the year before was that given that we had such a large number of APIs, and we found there was a vulnerability in one of the Spring versions, like Spring Boot, Spring Framework 5.2, I believe, and then Spring Boot, any Spring Boot version before 2.6. They discovered a vulnerability which required us to actually update all our APIs that use Spring Framework to at least Spring 5.3 or so, and for all of those that use Spring Boot to at least Spring Boot 2.6. And what this required is that it would also include, it forced us to upgrade the unit tests from Java JUnit 4 to JUnit 5. And this was a significant piece of work, and obviously we did that. I was mostly involved in that, and I did that over a period of 3 to 4 months, simply because we had such a large number of APIs. So there was quite a bit of JUnit and quite a bit of writing unit tests that I was involved in for those like 3 to 4 months. So hopefully all that knowledge still stays on. It would just be a matter of time for me to just have a look at that and then get started on that. Because since doing that last year, I actually moved on to other things, and I've been involved in quite a few other things, and it was mostly the Redis cluster stuff. Because we had heaps of APIs which were actually using the in-memory cache, and we had to move that to a distributed cache like Redis. Or also, in addition to that, one of the things that I was heavily involved in before I left my last workplace was that it was just upgrading some of our older Java APIs to using more modern Java multi-threading. So instead of Quartz framework, just things such as completable features and some of our newer schedulers. Some of their newer schedulers. Sorry, I shouldn't say some of ours because I'm no longer working with them. Some of their newer schedulers. So hopefully a lot of that knowledge still stays on. And yeah, I just realized that I've spent a bit too much time talking about things that I didn't intend to talk about in this video. So for those of you watching this video, thank you for watching, and I wish you well and live long and prosper.